Hello, my dear and lovely friends. I just had the pleasure of watching the latest Indie World Showcase, and I gotta say, it was good. It was really enjoyable. They're always enjoyable, but yeah, I don't know. The last few, it just kind of feels like they haven't really stood out. There's always cool games to look at. They're always enjoyable to a degree. It's just there's this variation in just like the pacing and whether or not they lean a little bit too much into one kind of vibe or another. And this one was good. It was a very just a diverse bunch of games. Yeah, let me hit the highlights. They started out with Dench Attack, and this game looks absolutely wacky, just really ridiculous. Yeah, like it's train skateboarding basically. And you know what? That's really, really funny because I had an idea like this for a game once. Basically, it was the same thing, really, like train skateboarding. It's you're grinding and doing tricks and big flips and stuff, but you're like a train. The way that I imagined it though was like a big, like more old-fashioned, like steam engine, big like locomotive. This is a lot more of like a modern train car, but it's very funny that this idea I had some years ago has materialized right here in some form. But no, it looks really super ridiculous, really super over the top, very, very stylish. I mean, it's just, this is the most Dreamcast coded game I think you could possibly create. It's absolutely perfect. Love the vibes, looks super fun. Like, I think this is a game that it has been announced for a while, and that, some people in chat, it seems that they've been following. But I could imagine that a lot of people are like me, we've never seen this before, and so I just think it was like one of those really nice just surprises, where just like, here's a game you never heard of, and just like, it looks really cool, and I don't know, just between that and just like the style of the game, I think it was a really great way to start the presentation. I think it was a really, really good opening. It gave the whole thing a real, some real juice, some real forward momentum, some real energy, and I really like that. And then there's a demo available today, so it's one of those like instant gratification things, it's just like, here's the thing you never heard of, and you can play right now, so that's always really cool. Then they showed off My Little Puppy, and this one, like, I don't want to just turn this into a thing where I complain a bunch about this game, because I think in ways, it seems really, I mean, like, obviously, like, it's about a little puppy who goes to heaven, like, it's just, it's a winning formula. I think I'm especially with, like, partner directs and Indie World Showcases, I'm just kind of eager for the Switch one to eventually get phased out, just because it's hard to keep seeing these games that, like, look kind of good, like, in concept, but then when you see the gameplay, it just feels really rough, just like it's just running kind of poorly, like even in a presentation like this, like, it's showing cutscenes and it's nice, and then there's like a 2-second clip of gameplay and it's like, ooh, like, just there's this like, oh man, it just looks like really choppy, and I don't know, it's just, I don't know if that's just because of like budget restraints, or if it is just because of the Switch being underpowered, yada yada, but like there is this kind of frustration there. It's just like I'm eager for a time, like, can we get to a point where, I don't know if it's everyone just needs to migrate to Switch 2 or what, but like, yeah, I see a concept and I think it's nice, and then you just get this really fuzzy, low res, like choppy frame rate gameplay, and it's just, I don't know. So yeah, and with this one, I don't know exactly what the game is. Is it a story game? Like there's just a couple parts where it shows actual gameplay, and it looks kind of rough, but then it shows a lot of other story stuff. There's like QTEs. Is it just kind of like mostly story, but kind of gameplay light? Is it more of a visual novel with mini games mixed in? I don't know. I guess maybe I'm slightly frustrated that I feel like the game didn't make as much of a case for itself as I wanted it to, because it is a nice concept, and I think a lot of people obviously, again, it's just a winning idea. But yeah, anyway, yeah, I don't want to complain too much. I think I am curious to see more. I'm curious to see more, and I, especially if it's gonna end up going to other platforms where it can maybe run a little bit better. I think that'll be nice. Then there was a trailer for a sequel to Moonlighter, and I did not play Moonlighter, but it did look very good. But my nephew, crazy about it. He played it so much. Like, it was like his game for a really good bit. He loved it. The poor guy, I think he never beat the final boss. I want to say he just like couldn't figure out how to beat it. I don't know. But he did play it a lot, and so he's gonna lose his mind when I tell him that they're making a new one. And you know, it does look good. It's I think it's always like across the board. Like this is just for everyone and every developer and everything. Like when you take really nice, good, clean pixel graphics, when you eventually do the follow-up and it uses 3D graphics, there's always that little thing that's like, oh man, you know, like it just, oh, I love a good, clean pixel aesthetic. So there's part of me that's kind of disappointed they went in this direction with the sequel. But at the same time, I can see that, like, I don't know, like overall, it's sort of an upgrade. The production value overall is higher. And you know, it's not like a, you know, the worst, the worst example for me was always going like Golden Sun 1 and 2 to the DS one. It's just like, yeah, okay, yeah, they're 3D now. Like, at what cost? Like, how is this better? You know what I mean? We don't get that here. Like, this still does look nice and clean. The visuals are nice. I'd say it's not as, like, unique necessarily, but I can see what they're going for, and it's just they're kind of like expanding the scope, and it does look good. And you know, you want to do something bigger and more grand for the sequel, so I do totally understand it, and it looks like all the other elements of like what made the first game good, they seem to be present here. So that's great. No, I'm really happy. I would love to play the original Moonlighter one of these days, but at the very least, my nephew's gonna be real happy. Then you got Woodo. This was a really pleasant surprise. This looks very good. It does. It looks really, really nice. I mean, like, maybe not necessarily the kind of thing I could see myself actually, like, buying and playing. In a perfect world, yes. Like, in a, you know, in a perfect world where I could play everything, yes. But, like, I can definitely see, I can see the appeal here. It looks super nice, just really sweet and charming and gentle. You know, just like a very, like, laid-back, kind of, like, meditative puzzle game. From the looks of it, it really just looks like you're just grabbing the objects and putting them where they go. But you're having to like rotate the entire scene, the entire diorama to like line up the perspective correctly to get it to go in. So it's just like, it's very low stakes, you know, it's a puzzle, but it's not very like a super duper thinky puzzle, which is really, really, really nice. Yeah, just a much more like meditative experience. I just always love like little dioramas. I love just little 3-dimensional digital things that you can kind of just like turn around and look at and explore, especially if it's like this where it's made, it's rendered in such a way that it looks kind of real, you know, like this all looks like it's kind of real wood, you know, evokes the feeling of like stop motion, looks like a real little toy set, and yet it's these like little fantastical adventure things, you know. I love that, you know. It reminds me of like Puzzle Swap on the 3DS, you know, or like Smash Brothers trophies. Just like I would always just like, especially if they were rendered really well, and I would just like, ooh, I just like turning them around and looking at like the lighting, you know. I think that's really fun. It really this reminds me of that. So yeah, looks really, really pleasant. It's interesting to see that it's going to be on Switch 2 and 1 because the visuals are very, very nice, and I feel like for me, the raw fidelity of it is like a really big selling point. I could not see myself wanting to play this on the Switch 1 if that's going to be a compromise. It's the sharpness of the visuals, the actual like feeling that it really is like emulating the look and the feel of like little wood blocks and stuff. So I don't know how the Switch 1 version will be. Yeah, it does look really, really incredibly, incredibly cute. Then the Midnight Walk is coming to Switch 2. That's cool. That is like, of all of the games that released last year that I really wanted to play but did not get a chance to, that was like up there. That was a top 2 or 3, you know, like that was like one of the ones that I really wanted to. So yeah, it's really, really cool seeing that it's coming to Switch 2. You know, Switch 2 is going to be a lot more capable of handling the really super nice visuals. No, I can't say enough about how incredible this game looks. It really, yeah, ticks a lot of boxes for me. You know, it's all like stop motion. Again, I love stop motion. I love the look of like, you know, realistic textures. Just like the style. It looks really scary, really incredibly cool. And I do hope to play it. I think when I do, I'll probably still stick to like PS5 or something just to get like the maximum visual experience. But very awesome that it's coming to Switch 2. And then Rotwood. This is not my kind of game, but I do want to to shout it out just for being like a game by the Don't Starve devs that looks solid for like what it is, even if it's not necessarily my cup of tea, and shadow dropping as a console exclusive on Switch too. Like that is rather notable. Like that's a pretty darn, I mean, you know, I don't know how the game will review, but I have no doubt that it'll be good. It looks good. Don't Starve devs are very talented. So like, no, that's a big win. That's a big win for the Switch too. And for this presentation, that's just solid. Blighted looks pretty good. It's funny because it's like, you know, what's the angle? I feel silly even being like, well, it's like Dark Souls. It's like a Souls-like, except it's like isometric, like dungeon crawler. And it's like, that's not new, right? Like there's got to be like a million things like that. And yet, like, I don't know. There's like, it's like very extra, like Dark Souls. You know what I mean? I don't know. It seems like a very, very pure version of like that, of those two ideas, like very focused. And I think it looks good and it sounds good. My disappointment here, I can't judge the game just based on this trailer, but it's the movement speed. Like I'm like watching just these clips in the trailer and I'm like already feeling just like, oh, like go faster. Like I think I might not be able to play this game just because that character movement is so incredibly slow. You know, I mean, it's all contextual. Like it may feel completely differently when you get the game in your own hands. You know, the game should be designed around that. But at least just based on the impression, like, yeah, that game looks good. I like the formula, but that character moves really slowly. So I don't know. I'm very eager to see reviews on that one. Then in the sizzle reel, they showed off Toem 2. I mean, the fact that it's in a sizzle reel makes me think that it has to have been announced before. I don't think they usually like announce stuff in a sizzle reel, at least not like the existence of a game. Maybe the existence of it coming to Switch, possibly. I don't know. I did not get a chance to play the original Toem, but it looked very good. So it's really, really great to see that it's getting a sequel. Great to I hope that means that it did well enough. You know, anytime you see a sequel, you think, oh, good for them. That must mean that their first game did okay. So that's cool. And then the big surprise final reveal was Blueprints, which is great, which is cool. No, I mean, I've heard incredible things about the game. You know, again, you want to talk about like the tippy top of the list of games I really wanted to play last year. I only heard the best things about Blueprints, so I really would like to play it. And I think Switch seems like a really handheld, just really does seem like a very, very good way to play it, especially if you're into, you know, mouse controls and whatnot. So that was good. Like that was a win. That was an indie game that people have been hoping would come to Switch or Switch 2. And so like, there you go. We got it. And I don't want to like take away the spotlight from Blueprints too much just because it's not what I was expecting, but I do need to mention Mina the Hollower. I have to. It is weird. I don't know. Just seemed like so likely that we would get Mina Shadow Drop release date, something, you know, yeah, like I talked about it in the announcement video, just like Yacht Club Games and Nintendo, like they're good buds. Mina is like a big play on a set of Nintendo games for Pete's sake. It's basically a Zelda-like, and the game was gonna release last Halloween, and now we're just kind of waiting, and they don't want to give us a date until they're like sure that it's done. And I don't know. This was just such a perfect opportunity. You know, it's a few months later. I want to say it's disconcerting to not see it. At the same time, tomorrow they could give us a so like, yeah, the game's not necessarily in trouble or anything. We really are just waiting for them to release it or give us a release date or whatever. So yeah, it was surprising to not see it here. I really thought it would be the final thing. I really did. Or the opening. I thought it'd be the opener or the closer. We didn't see it at all, unfortunately. That is disappointing, but I will keep waiting. I will keep waiting patiently. But anyway, yeah, no, like I said at the beginning, it was a good showing, you know? It was 15 minutes of indie games. The pace was pretty good. Didn't stick on any one thing too long. Variety was really good. Had some real genuine reveals in there. Some real good games. It was good. It was solid. I think that was probably the best indie world that we've gotten in a good bit. What do they do? I want to say 2 of these a year. It's usually like a winter one and a summer one or something. So yeah, if that was the best one in a while, that'd be like the best one in like a year or something. Maybe, I don't know. It was fun. Thank you to everyone who joined me in the stream. If you want to see the VOD of me watching the whole stream, it's over on the main channel under the live tab. And I think you're just so wonderful. Please have a great day.